In this podcast, we're going to look at and explore three pillars or three foundations for health and really overall life empowerment, transformation, and sovereignty. These are three keys, three pillars, three foundations that can really empower us to make better decisions for ourselves, to feel more calm, centered, and relaxed, to come from a more authentic and true place within ourselves, and to really be able to sort through all of this information and all of the choices and options which are being thrust upon us pretty much every single day. Now, I'll warn you before we begin, some of the things that I say may be a little bit edgy, may be a little bit controversial, but I really feel this stuff is quite important, so I'm going to speak freely. And the stuff I'm going to say is going to be incredibly helpful and incredibly empowering, and I think you're really going to dig it. So without further build-up or explanation, let's get into and take a look at these different pillars and these different foundations. So the first, and really I think one of the most important pillars, most important ideas, most important concept to look at, is to understand, realize, and accept that we are each responsible for ourselves and no one else. And it's really up to us. Meaning, if we're going to want a change, if we're going to want a transformation, a healing, an upgrade, whatever that might be, it's up to us. It's our responsibility. And we're really raised in a culture and really in a world which wants us to make everyone else responsible for us. Whether that's the government, or God, or the cosmos, or our religion, or even our government, or even our parents, our people who are related to, our boss, our teachers, etc. It's really just this whole matrix or this whole paradigm which tries to disempower us and thus empower the system. Now, that might sound a little weird or kind of like conspiracy or out there, but it's very much well rooted in truth and practical reality. And whether we're religious or spiritual or atheist, or whether we're in a sort of a mainstream health paradigm, or even if we're in an alternative health paradigm, this sort of thought virus or meme really plays out. And this is something that I've learned a lot from my own health journey, from wanting to fix myself of things or upgrade things or transform things, as well as working with people on a one-on-one basis individually, doing coaching sessions and strategy sessions, really helping people upgrade and transform their lives. Something I've seen on both accounts, as well as other practitioners that I'm friends with, other people that are in the holistic health business, and even people in the mainstream health business. It's the same behavior which seems to play out. And really this doesn't do anything for us, because in the end, we're each responsible for ourselves. And of course, having teachers and guides and research and information and practitioners is really important. It's an important thing to have, obviously. But we have to realize that how we approach that situation, what we bring to that discussion, what we bring to that dialogue and conversation is important. And keep in mind I said dialogue, conversation, not monologue and not lecture. Because we need to participate in our own quest, our own journey, and not just go to a doctor or a practitioner and say, oh, here's all my problems, here's what I'm doing, oh no, what should I do, tell me what to do, please fix me. Because if we're still inside of ourselves looking at ourselves as broken or somehow dirty or bad or evil or distorted or some sort of culprit that we need to be fixed or cleansed or saved, it's not going to happen, because there's only one person that can do that and grant that to ourselves, which is ourself. Only we can give ourselves permission to do that. Obviously, a practitioner can say, hey, here's a good direction to go in, here's something to try, here's something to do, but unless we're willing and able to open our minds, to shift our behaviors, and participate in our own quest, in our own journey, in our own healing, then our results are going to be pretty seriously diminished. And that behavior plays out, like I said earlier, in the holistic health thing, but also, when people go to the doctor, that's pretty much the dialogue there is, it doesn't matter what you do, just keep eating what you're eating, keep doing what you're doing, keep stressing, keep living your life exactly how you're living it, but here's a pill, here's a test, here's a surgery, you're fine, you're fixed, go home. It's sort of just treating the person like a car. Oh, well, your brakes are going out, let's just replace your brakes and everything will be perfect. Without even asking, well, what are you thinking that's making yourself so stressed? Why are you responding in that situation in that way? Why are you reacting in this way? Why do you have this rigid set of behaviors? Why do you not feel willing and open to change or to be flexible? Why do you eat this way or why do you not eat that way? What can you learn? What can you unlearn? What can you add in? What can you remove? All these conversations and all this question is just pretty much left out and says, oh, well, none of that matters. Just take this pill and you'll be fine. So what happens is, that's kind of the world that we're raised in. And that's the medical example, but also, even in going to the church. It's like, oh, well, here's the rules, follow the rules, give yourself over to this, do that, and at the end of the day, you can have this. We go to school and they say, hey, here's the rules, here's what's expected of you, get good grades, do this, do that, and then at the end, here's the reward. But all of it, again, is just disempowering us. But what happens is, we have all this programming, and then we get into like holistic health, or alternative health, or new agey stuff, or herbalism, or supplements, or diets, or meditation, or whatever it is. We don't let go of that initial program. So we bring it in and we talk to people and we say, hey, here's all my conditions. What one herb will fix all of it? It's like, well, it's not really how things work. It's a bigger conversation. And if we're going to truly be interested in holistic health, we have to understand that holistic health means to be whole, to be holy, to be holistic, meaning to integrate all the different aspects of ourselves, our psyche, our thoughts, our behaviors, our feelings, our beliefs, our actions, as well as our diet, our lifestyle. All of these factors have to come in, and it's not just one thing. It's not that we can just keep doing exactly what we've been doing, take a pill, and then everything will be fixed and everything will be better. Because if we really want to, if we want to have what we've always had, we can just keep doing what we've always been doing. But if we want something different, then we're going to have to do something different. And really the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's something that's really important and really crucial to keep in mind. So just to recap again, the main point here is that we're each responsible for ourselves, and it's up to us. We need to be engaged and participate in our own journey, our own quest for whatever it is that we're working for. And obviously teachers and guides and practitioners and herbs and supplements and diets and exercises and research and information and education, all these things are important and essential. We have to include ourselves, our own self, our own participation in that process. Because really, number one, none of those things are going to save us. They can help us, they can facilitate us, they can get us to a place, but they're not a savior. And number two, we need to understand that if we lean on anything for too long, that it will collapse. Whether that's a belief, an idea, a practice, or supplement, herb, a diet, whoever that may be. Now, hopefully that wasn't too much, that wasn't too sort of shaking or jarring. Hopefully that really resonated, because it's not meant to be anything other than deeply empowering, to make us think and feel, hey, you know what, that's right, I can do this, I can make a shift, I can make a change, it's up to me, I can do this, I am empowered, I am able and willing to do what I need to do. Whatever that might be, it might be a huge step, it might be one little small step, but in the end, it's up to us, and no one outside of ourselves is responsible for us, and no one can necessarily save us. And vice versa, we're not responsible for other people. I'm responsible for me, you're responsible for you. We can come together, we can help each other, we can exchange things, we can assist each other, we can inspire and empower each other. At the end of the day, how you live your life, how I live my life, that's a personal choice, which is up to us. Not our doctor, not our spiritual teacher, not our guru, not our preacher, not our body worker, not our acupuncturist. No, it's up to us. So that's really the main point I'm trying to drive home in that first thing, and I looked at it from a lot of different angles and gave a lot of different examples and illustrations, so hopefully it sets in really clear. Now moving on, the second pillar, the second foundation, is that really there's no magic bullet and there's no golden pill. And why I say that is because if we're going to truly evolve our consciousness and look at holistic health and look at things being whole, we have to understand that it's more about a solid foundation. It's more about a solid lifestyle. It's more about how we live our lives. It's more about how we're being, rather than just thinking one pill can fix us. Now, obviously, I'm a huge proponent of pills, of herbs and supplements, and all manner of technologies to, alter and transform our consciousness. But these things are all tools. And they're tools which can fit into a bigger toolbox, which, well, who's using the toolbox and how are they using it? Those are deeper questions and deeper things which engage us and involve us and empower us, again, to participate. And the only reason I bring that up is just, it's a common thing that I see a lot in the health field, is just people have, they might write a whole essay and say, oh, I've had this problem for this many years and do this and do that, and I have this and I have that. What one herb will fix everything? And it's not that herbs won't help. It's not that supplements won't help. They definitely can. They definitely will. What it is about is, okay, well, what overall things, what bigger picture can I start to apply and adopt that can really make a shift and really make a change? Meaning, dietary upgrades, exercise upgrades, meditation upgrades, breathing upgrades, thought, and mental and belief and emotional upgrades, as well as, herbs and supplements and diets and all of these different things. It's just really being more intelligent and seeing it from the bigger picture. Because if you're, if you want to be a concert pianist, or you want to be great at anything, you realize that it's a skill and it's going to take practice. It's going to take a wide variety of skills, which are then going to come together into one skill. Same thing with relationships. Relationships are very complex and dynamic things, and it's almost like saying, well, what's the one thing that I can do that's going to make my relationship perfect? In reality, relationships are always changing. They're always moving, so it takes our active participation and our active engagement in the process to make it succeed and to make it move and grow and transform. And the same thing applies when it comes to our health. Now again, obviously all of these different strategies are important and helpful, and we just need to take a look at them. And I'm not putting anything down, I'm not putting anyone down, I'm not judging anyone, I'm not pointing any fingers. What I'm trying to do is just paint a bigger picture here and sort of evolve the way we can approach things and look at things, and realize that, again, it's up to us. We are each responsible for ourselves. And when we come from that empowered place, we can attract better practitioners, better people. We can attract better experiences and opportunities. We can also attract the things that we need to get us to that place and to get us to that next step. Which again leads me to point number 3, foundation and pillar number 3, is that it's never done, and there's no end-all, be-all, or static place of perfection. There's no place that we reach where we can say, oh, I'm finally done. I can just sit down and relax and it's all over. Because in reality, wherever we're at, we're always in the middle. Because we have things which came before this moment, we have things which will come after this moment. We have things which we're dealing with now, which we might think are good or bad or positive and negative, but compared to other people, might not be that. Compared to other areas of our life or other experiences in our life, might not be that either. And why I say it's never done, there's no end-all, be-all, or static place of perfection, is because there's always different levels to grow to and to expand to. Meaning we might have achieved one thing, we might be in the process of achieving another thing, but in reality, that's just a stepping stone, that's just a level. And there's another one after that, and another one after that. And one thing I want to point out here, and one thing that often people sort of get trapped and sort of get complacent, is that we think, oh, well, I do this exercise or I do this diet, and I feel pretty good, that's all I need to do. But in reality, there's always other problems, or there's maybe a long-standing condition that's lasted for years that isn't going away, but we sort of get stuck and fixed because we get comfortable and think, oh, well, I am X or I am Y. But if we remember earlier, if we lean on anything too long, it will collapse. So why I really point this out and why it's important is that we can't miss what we've never had. So how that relates is that if we're doing a certain thing or we're at a certain level, we can't miss the next few levels up because we've never tasted it. We don't even know what it's like. We don't even know what it could be. Meaning we might think we feel pretty good now. We might just say, oh, I feel good and that's all I need to do. I mean, so what? There's so many other levels that we haven't even touched or tasted yet. So the point is just to keep moving and keep growing and expanding and expressing ourselves and being true to ourselves and realizing that there's different levels to grow to and expand to. And it's never done. There's no end-all be-all, and there's no static place of perfection. Because the deeper concept, the deeper teaching, the deeper understanding there is that where there's movement and free flow, there's health. Where there's stagnation, fixation, or blockage, there's dis-ease or lack of ease. So really, if we want health, we want more energy, we're going to need to keep moving and keep flowing. If we start to stagnate and become fixed and rigid and sort of blocked, that's not health. That's going to create a lack of ease. That's going to create an impediment in the flow of our energy as well as the various fluids within our body. So that's why it's important to remember that it's never done. There's really no end-all, be-all place of static perfection. Now, these are just 3 pillars which I've pointed out so far. And taken on their own, they're great and empowering and can really be educational, informational, even transformational. But taken together, put together, form a much bigger picture of what it means to really have health and what it means to really grow and expand and express ourselves in this physical reality. And my main intention for bringing these things up is to really allay and put aside a lot of the major blocks and stumbling places and distractions and energy wastes and just sort of negative energy that comes along on this path of achieving greater health or vitality or consciousness or whatever it might be for you. And these aren't things that I just made up or pulled out of thin air. These are not things I'm just saying up on a soapbox or preaching from the pulpit. These are things which I realize and have come to understand through my own practice, through my own life. Not only in my own just personal world, but also working with other people on a one-on-one basis, working with other practitioners, etc. These just seem to be very deep and empowering truths. And that's why I created this audio, and I hope that's definitely what they've done for you. They've helped you to realize that, sure, teachers and guides and research and education and information and practitioners and therapies and modalities, these are all important and essential and a huge piece of the puzzle, of course. But in the end, we are each responsible for ourselves. It's up to us. And no one can really show us or teach us or give us something that we're not already working towards or we're not already learning or trying to experience. So if you go to a practitioner, you go to someone or you approach someone, be coming from that empowered place, the results you're going to manifest, what you're going to attract from that person, what they're going to be able to give to you, is going to be so much more empowering, so much more high leverage, and so much more worth your time and your energy and your money. And if everything else I've said so far is just sort of outlandish or new agey, in the total brass tacks sort of nitty gritty way, it's just going to be a better usage of our time and our energy and our hard-earned money, obviously. So even for just those reasons alone, we should start to feel like, all right, it is up to me. I am responsible for me. Maybe I've made good choices. Maybe I've made bad choices. Maybe I've had really bad experiences in my life or really good experiences, or so-and-so did this or that. That's fine. And that's pretty much what everyone has to say. Every human being has a trauma, has wounds, has fears, has anxieties, has irrational beliefs, has all of this baggage. We all do. And that's not the problem. problem is, how do we handle that? How do we, move forward? Do we just drag it along, or we just realize, yeah, there it is, that's fine, and just start to be more empowered and more responsible for ourselves? Now, from there, we understand that there's really no magic bullet or magic pill, which is just going to solve all of our problems and make everything go away. No, because we understand we're complex, dynamic beings. Life is a complex, dynamic process. So obviously, we're going to need to approach it as such. You realize we're going to need to upgrade a wide variety of areas in our life. And then number 3, realize that it's never done. There's no race, there's no finish line, there's no end-all, be-all, or static place of perfection. Because there's always different levels that we can grow to and expand to, and we can't miss what we never had. We don't know what the higher levels from where we are now are like. We can maybe imagine, we can maybe think, but we won't really know until we get there. And then finally, and most foundationally, what underlies all of this is that where there's movement and free flow, there's health, and where there's blockage, stagnation, and fixation, there's dis-ease. Alright, so that's the 3 pillars, the 3 foundational concepts for really creating just better results, more health, more vitality, more wealth, more abundance, happiness, energy, whatever it is. Because these are true principles that don't just apply to health, they don't just apply to philosophy or spirituality, they apply across the board because they're actually inherent, natural, empowering principles. So hopefully it's been very helpful and entertaining. It's been fun for me to make, to get out. So things that have been going through my head a lot lately. And if you have any comments or questions or thoughts or anything that comes up, definitely send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. And I look forward to talking to you soon.